From the News Channel 5 Network, this is Inside Politics.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to Inside Politics. I'm Ben Hall, in for Pat Nolan. Our guest today is one of the most powerful politicians in Tennessee. He is the Speaker of the House, Cameron Sexton, the Republican Speaker of the House. Speaker, thank you for being here.
Thank you for having me.
Busy week. A new session has started. The big news is redistricting. I want to start with that.
Okay.
For the first time ever, Davidson County is being divided into 3 different congressional districts. Traditionally, we have been one district, primarily a Democratic voting district. It is now being divided 3 ways. There's a lot of reaction to it. I'm going to ask you about that, but I want to first ask you, why divide Davidson County into 3 separate voting districts?
Well, it's not out of the realm of possibility. We've done it in other big urban areas. Shelby County had 2. Knox County has had multiple before. So it's not out of the ordinary to split big metropolitan areas. What I will say is what happened in the state is the population really shift. East moved to middle and west to middle. They've lost population on the ends of Tennessee. Population's really grown. So when we started drawing it from east to middle and west to middle, the new 5th district just kind of became what was left over as we're looking at it. We feel like it's going to satisfy that. It has satisfied the Voting Rights Act, which is held to a high standard in the courts, and we believe it will be upheld as constitutional.
Some of the reaction, Jim Cooper said all Nashvillians should feel insulted and abused by the new map. He said, what Republicans could not win in local elections, they are stealing through gerrymandering. And so when you say it's happened before, what you have here is a county that is traditionally Democratic, and it's being divided 3 ways. Was that done to dilute the Democratic vote?
Well, no, I think if I would like to go back and look at Jim Cooper's comments when they did that to Republicans, since he's been in office for almost 3 decades. Did he have the same response when Democrats did it to Republicans? I think not. But what I will say is, I think Nashville will come out better, because what you have is you have multiple people represent you in Washington, D.C. You're not just limited to the one person, and they may be on the wrong side of the aisle who's in power, so you don't have anything. You have multiple people that are on different committees. You have different representation. I think having more congressmen represent Davidson County, our biggest city in the state of Tennessee, actually gives them more power in Washington, not less.
Your county, Cumberland County, is it divided multiple ways?
Not in congressional, but it has been divided multiple ways before in the state house. And it's part of the rural area. My county's 60,000 or so. But I will say there's a part that is included in the 6th district, which is with Ray County, which was a population balance. So there's a little bit of the 6th district that goes into a place called Grandview, which is very close to Cumberland County, on top of the Cumberland Plateau before you get into Ray County. But there's a little split up there as well.
The other concern is what this means for minority voters, heavy minority presence in Davidson County. Odessa Kelly said, dividing up Nashville is an intentional attempt to dilute the voices of black and brown voters in Tennessee and destroy a progressive Democratic stronghold in our state. So what do you say when people are saying what you're trying to do is dilute a Democratic stronghold, but again, the voices of black and brown voters?
Well, it's just nonsense on their part. I know that that person, I think, was wanting to run for office and wanting to run against Cooper. They can make whatever allegations. Race never came into anything that we talked about on drawing these congressional maps. We worked with the House and in the House, and we worked with the Senate. Race never came into it. It's based on population, and it's based on census blocks. And so when we were drawing the map, and it's based on Voting Rights Act, the only majority minority district in Tennessee that's a congressional is in the 9th district. That's the only majority minority district. Our plan didn't put any congressmen together, didn't lump any of them together. The Democrats put together a plan that did keep Davidson County intact, but guess what they did? They put David Kustoff in the same district with Steve Cohen, which was a Democrat district. They drew in Desjardins and John Rose into the same district. So our map is constitutional. It protects the Voting Rights Act, and we didn't pair any congressman with any sitting congressman.
I want to show the map. I think we have the map, not of Davidson County, but of the state. And the concern, and this is very hard to see, but what you have here is Davidson County is kind of in the middle there. And if you look, there's East Nashville, and it goes, it's in the 6th. It goes all the way up there to Scott County. And so the question is, what do voters in East Nashville have in common with voters all the way over in Scott County? And wouldn't there have been an easier way to draw that?
Well, I think at the end, we're all Tennesseans, so I think that's a common thread. I think that's not to lose that perspective. But just because you divide up Davidson County, there's Republicans in that 6th district that's in Davidson County. There's Democrats in that part. It's not like Davidson County is all Democrat. There's Republicans there, and people are assuming a lot of stuff, which is fine, but it's not fact. But what I will say is that will allow John Rose to have a better idea. He represents rural parts of Tennessee. He represents a big metropolitan area. It actually aids in going to Washington. Now you have 3 people potentially, when this passes, that represents Davidson County in Washington. You have 3 of 435 reps, not 1 of 435, and I think it gives you more power.
But Davidson, it doesn't, in a way, the argument is because none of those districts is Davidson County a majority. So those people don't have to come to Davidson County. Davidson County had its own representative. That was true power. Now it's diluted.
Well, did Cooper ever really come to Nashville other than live here anyway? I mean, so what I'm saying is the 5th district, I think, is 48%, Davidson County. The 6th district is 26%, and the 7th district is 28%, or those two might be reversed a little bit. But to assume, once again, people are assuming that John Rose is not going to come to Davidson County. People are going to assume that Mark Green's not coming to Davidson County. People will assume whoever is representing the 5th district is not coming to Davidson County. That's an assumption. It's not fact. I know John Rose. I know Mark Green. They're going to represent people in Davidson County just like they represent them everywhere else, because they're about serving the constituents. It's not a partisan thing. When I worked for Congressman Van Hillary, whenever he was the 4th Congressional District, and if you want to talk about political gerrymandering, go back and look at that 1990 map drawn by the Democrats that have the 4th Congressional District going from Claiborne County, Tennessee, all the way to Hardin County, Tennessee. It looked like the state of Tennessee. It was drawn just for a Democrat. That's what that county was drawn for. And so when I worked for Van Hillary, when you're elected, you represent everybody. You don't represent just the Republicans. You don't represent just the Democrats. You elect the people that are in your district. And I know Mark Green, John Rose, and whoever the 5th is, if it's Jim Cooper that wins that seat, they're going to represent everybody.
At the beginning, you said it just kind of worked out that way when you divided the state. But you've said more than once Democrats did this. So is this that Republicans are in charge and now it's their turn? Did it really just work out that way, or did you all say, we're gonna set these up in a way that's going to be favorable to Republicans at a time when Congress is at stake? You know, the federal control of Congress is at stake. Was that part of it? And did you do this just because you feel like Democrats have always done it?
But what I'm saying is Democrats are being hypocritical, because what they did in the 70s and the 80s and the 90s and the 2000s is a lot worse, what they're accusing us of. Like, they're accusing us of political gerrymandering. You look at that map, it doesn't look anything like anything that they created. And so when we moved the population from east to middle and west to middle, and we shored up the 6th district and the 7th district, and we're trying to find the right population, the 5th district sort of drew itself. That's what was kind of remaining based on what we were trying to accomplish with population. But the Democrats, if they're complaining about this, then I need Jim Cooper to go back and complain about the Democrats back then when he was serving. And I doubt that he ever came out and supported Republicans. And when the Democrats put 12 Republicans into a single district, I didn't hear them saying that was political gerrymandering. I didn't hear them saying that that was an issue.
It has been said gerrymandering's bad, and there's no question it's happened in the past. But when you look at a county that's always been one representative, and now it's divided 3 ways, the Democrats say they're going to sue.
Okay.
Do you feel like that gives them fodder to sue? Frankly, it's always been one. Now it's divided 3 ways.
Well, I mean, like I said, historical basis in Tennessee, we've always split metropolitan areas. There's no political gerrymandering saying that you political gerrymander when you split a county. That's not political gerrymandering. And so they can say it, doesn't mean it's true. What I will tell you is race did not enter into this. We took into account the Voters' Rights Act, which means in Shelby County with the majority-minority district, that had to be maintained. And we believe like it was constitutional. They may not like it. I understand it. But it is constitutional.
All right, we are going to take a break. We'll come back, continue our discussion, talk about the upcoming legislative session. Take a break, be back right after this.
This is a Storm 5